Mentioned in 4 or 5 days. It is a beautiful day for racing. The wait, I think it will be worth it.
We were able to be down trackside when they pulled the cars off the pit lane and onto the front straightaway, and it immediately washed away any concerns or angst that we may have had as far as getting this race in. After Tim Bryant, his entire team, the track crew, all the volunteers who returned here today on this Monday afternoon to help make sure the fans that were coming on back had a chance to get into the track with ease as the drivers get set to strap into their cars. And Adam, what may end up being one of the most difficult snowball derbies to win because of the prolonged conditions we had. Some of these race teams have as little as 4 laps of practice on their tires or on this racetrack. Others with a maximum of 40. Not a lot of research to go off of these last few days. This may be the steepest derby challenge yet.
Normally there are several hours of practice for the 2 divisions with the snowflake and the derby. This year, an hour session for each, and those took place a couple of days ago. Let's send it trackside for opening ceremonies.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the rain-delayed 58th Annual Snowball Derby. Thank you all for your stick-to-itiveness and your faith in us and our officials in what certainly has been a weather-challenged weekend. Remember, all the divisions that did not race because of this weather during the Snowball Derby will be on track tomorrow. We begin tomorrow afternoon for all those divisions. Now, 34 drivers are ready to take the green flag for 300 laps in the 58th Annual Snowball Derby. But first, like it is our custom here at Five Flags Speedway, we're going to ask you to all please rise, remove your hats. First of all, for the invocation, which will be followed by our nation's #1 song, the national anthem. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Here's Robbie Harvey.
Father, we gather for this historic race event with our hearts full of excitement and gratitude. Bless the drivers with safety, skill, and of course courage on today's race. Protect all involved, the teams, the officials, the fans, from any harm. Grant wisdom in every decision, strength in every lap, and joy in the spirit of competition. May this event unite us in fellowship, reminding us of your guiding hand in life's race. Keep us humble in victory and gracious in defeat under your endless mercy. We ask this in your name. Amen. And now, fans, on behalf of our Grand Marshal, Boo Weekly, it's now time for the most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
The build-up and anticipation for the biggest short track race of the year now starts to breathe towards its start as we get set for the 58th Annual Snowball Derby presented by FloSports. 34 cars going to partake in this event here today after 36 locked their way into the show in what was a uniquely scheduled opportunity between qualifying and a last chance race. A couple of drivers had to withdraw from the event. More on that in a few moments. But Adam, we got to this point yesterday where we got the engines fired, but the weather did not cooperate. cooperate. These drivers, and you can tell by some of the sights and sounds that we got to absorb during that opening ceremonies, you can tell just by looking on the faces of these drivers, they are ready.
They are ready to go. They've been ready. Anxious. Anticipation to get these cars rolling at speed after very few laps have been turned on this racetrack all week long. Joe's Racing Product pit reporter Bob Dillner.
We are excited to get things kick-started today with the 58th running of the Snowball Derby, and all of these teams are as well. You can feel the anxiousness build as they walk to their race cars, and the teams took the tire pressures here today. But one driver trying to make history here today, Ty Majeski, starting on the outside of the front row. Majeski is hoping to become the only other driver other than Rich Bickle to win 3 or more races in the Snowball Derby. And if you take a look at the last few years here at the Snowball Derby, that outside front row starting spot, very valuable. The last 4 winners have come from the second place starting spot. 3rd prior to that, so qualifying up front is very important here at the Snowball Derby. We'll see how it pans out for Ty Majeski, who feels he has a very good race car here today. To Jim Trado.
Bob, when it comes to this race and how special it is, there are 45 cars that attempted to qualify for the field. Rolling today, 9 first-time drivers, highlighted by Carson Brown. He'll start 17th in his very first Snowball Derby. In Anthony Campany's powerhouse super late model team, that number 81 Chevy has raced here before. It's Carson's first year, first time at the Derby, but he led the first 75 laps of the ASA Stars race here in March. He was hoping for a better qualifying result, but more importantly, legends are made. That's a phrase they've used time and again for the Snowball Derby. And as Carson Brown rolls on, if he were able to win, it reminds me of the day that Eric Jones showed up for his first Snowball Derby in 2012. That family team went on to win. He beat Kyle Busch that day. The next year, Kyle Busch put him in his race car, and Eric went back-to-back at age 16 and 17 in the field. If Carson Brown is able to do it, my goodness, his Richard Childress contract is definitely a solid gold signing. Recently, Carson Brown has signed on with Childress as a development driver, so Carson Brown, a lot going on, but more importantly, legends can be made here at the Derby. We're now looking live at the left front of Chase Pinsonneau's number 14 Chevrolet. For Carson Hocevar Racing Development. Something going on here. Again, these cars sat for a long time, only a couple of pace laps before we brought them back to pit road last evening. Left front shock, it looks like, on the upper is what they're adjusting here on Pinsonneau's Chevy. He'll start the tail once they roll, if they roll in time for the green flag.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have some fun down there. Early drama for Pinsonneau, who you see by virtue of our speed shot still on the pit lane, working on that left front tire. He will forego his 30th spot. He was the last car in on qualifying that took place, seems like a couple of days ago. But he did time his way into the show and was elated to not have to sweat out that last chance race. But as Jim mentioned, he will have to drop to the rear as the field continues on with their parade and pace laps. Let's take a look at our starting lineup for the 58th Annual Snowball Derby. His second pole for veteran driver Preston Peltier, alongside a multi-time winner of this race, Ty Majeski on the front row. Hudson Bolger and Jake Finch make up row 2. Finch had a hard crash in the snowflake, probably happy he had an extra day to rest up before this race. Row 3, Spencer Davis of Dawsonville, Georgia, and a great qualifying run from Michael Atwell, who will start 6th.
Jace Hansen had a great race car a year ago. He starts on the inside of row number 4 in the 7th position. A good starting spot for a driver who finished 4th last year. David Gilliland, oldest driver in the field this year at 49 years of age, starts outside of row 4. He has a strong race car. Hayden Plybon, a 20-year-old driver from the West Coast, starting inside of row 5. And Casey Klein, another driver from Washington. That row made up of Washington drivers starting 10th. Dylan Fetcho, Dawson Sutton, Tennessee drivers in row 6.
The hottest driver in Super Late Models, Cole Butcher, won championships across multiple platforms, starts inside of row 7 alongside California native Jacob Gomes. Actually a pair of Snowball Derby winners, Derek Thorne and Kate Honeycutt, are going to make up row 8. The aforementioned Carson Brown in his inaugural Derby chance alongside of Tristan McKee, also making his first Derby start in row number 9.
Max Reeves, one of 2 drivers unable to make the call today. Bubba Pollard outside of the row, making his 18th Derby start today, looking for win number 1. Derek Kraus inside of row 11. Trayton Lapsovich starting outside in position 22. Casey Roderick back at a super late model inside of the next row.
Buddy Shepard, Dustin Smith going to make up row 13. Ryan Priest scheduled to start inside of row 14. He had to withdraw from the event. Brandon Lopez making his first Snowball Derby in a super. Cole Rash, Chase Pinsino take you through your top 30 starters.
Kyle Busch, Stephen Nasse, a pair of 51s in row 16. Derek Griffith, Jake Garcia. Then it's Matt Craig, Gavin Bushell taking provisionals in our final row.
34 starters getting set to tackle this half-mile racetrack as we are one lap away from kicking off the mecca of short track racing here at the Five Flags Speedway. Adam, you've been part of this race for several years, more than a decade, approaching 2. What are the emotions for all these drivers, teams, and even us?
Just so different this year because of the anticipation, the buildup, the anxiousness, the lack of laps on the racetrack, so many different things. This has been atypical this year. 57 degrees, a breezy day today. The pace car drops to pit road. Preston Peltier, Ty Majeski get the 58th running of the Snowball Derby presented by FloRacing underway in Pensacola.
No holes, keep working. Quartering front. Still in here full. 2 back to you, mirror.
Peltier is going to get the drive off of turn 4 to lead lap number 1. It's going to be Majeski second, Finch up to third after Hudson Bolger had a bit of a slide in 3 and 4 in the opening go-around. Top 2 clear by themselves in front of the pack.
We had some surprises among our top 10 in qualifying a couple of nights ago. Will be interesting to see how those cars stay in the top 10 or if they start to fade after some laps. Big contact. Spencer Davis, the 96. Michael Atwell in the 3. They continue on.
And that's Jace Hansen on the inside in the 08 trying to get by. Gilliland washes up a little bit wide behind him in the 98 car, losing a spot to Hayden Plybon in the 55. And Dylan Fetcho in the 89 was very vocal about his thoughts on the racing conditions. Should this event have happened yesterday, he's certainly happy that we're running at midday on a Monday. He's running just inside, just outside of the top 10 as Davis is back inside of Atwell.
It's for position number 5. Davis at the line has it. Atwell caught in the outside groove and he could lose a few spots if he can't get down. He has the opportunity. Hansen didn't have a good exit of turn 2, but rallies down in turn 3. More contact. Hansen moving the 3 up the banking and Atwell back on the outside lane.
We are only 5 laps into this race and we have seen just how physical it may have to be today for these drivers to make some moves and work their way up through the pack. Left side of your picture, the gap between first and second. Peltier and Majeski. Right side, you've got Gilliland leaving a bit of a donut on the left side door of Atwell, who almost caught the wall off the corner.
Boy, Gilliland saw the slight opening and he went for it. Made the opening a little bit bigger, went down to the flat of the racetrack and picked up the position, did Gilliland. Can give him the 8th position last time at the line. Fetcho, the 3-time Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Pro Late Model champion, trying to make a move on Atwell.
Just behind Dylan Fetcho in that 26 car. That was the fastest car in the lone practice session held here on Friday. Dawson Sutton, Winchester 400 winner, trying to shut the door on Cole Butcher, the ASA Stars national champion on the season, as the top 2 drivers, if you were to handicap the field coming into this race in Super Late Model Racing, are door-to-door for a spot just outside the top 10.
Yeah, no doubt 2 of the favorites right there on the right side of the screen. Left side of the screen, the lead battle might be heating up a little bit. Ty Majeski, 2-time winner of the race, all over the rear bumper of pole sitter Preston Peltier.
Majeski trying to add his name to what is a very small list of drivers who have not only won more than 1 Snowball Derby, but more than 2. There's a bunch of drivers. We'll go through the stats a little bit later on, but he is looking for that 3rd Tom Dawson Trophy, and he is hounding the back bumper of Preston Peltier, who only ran 1 qualifying mock run on the practice session, got the pole in qualifying. This is the longest run that car and driver has had on the weekend.
Both of those cars very well handling race cars. Preston Peltier and Ty Majeski. Majeski's might be just a little bit better, however, as he's looking to make a move. Watch him. His entry is better. Peltier stays a little bit higher. Majeski goes down on the flat right against the wall in 4.
While we watch this battle for the lead, we're hearing via some of the radio chatter that some drivers are reporting there might be some fluid on the racetrack coming from another car. Officials are trying to keep their eyes out to see if they notice anything abnormal as Majeski looks for the lead in 3.
To the bottom of turn 4, his car rotating on the inside lane so well, was all over the 48 of Peltier, and a new leader in turn number 1. It's the Menards iRacing 91 of Ty Majeski.
Majeski goes to the point. Now he's going to try to set sail. And for some of the drivers who did not have that strong of a qualifying effort, one of the biggest concerns for all competitors is falling off the lead lap. And here is one of the cars that we believe may be causing some concern for the competition. That's Tristan McKee in the Richie Waters number 5, running right in front of Bubba Pollard. Pollard has got to be noticing perhaps what is going on with that 5 car. And if it's dropping some fluid, that cannot be a good case for the rest of the field, especially Pollard, who's in the tire tracks of McKee.
Yeah, McKee's car looks to be running okay, except the smoke is coming out of it, perhaps some liquid. It's quite a bit of smoke coming off the front of the race car. He looks to the bottom side of Casey Roderick. McKee currently running in the 20th position. Pollard 1 spot outside of the top 20. But McKee a little bit faster than the 2 in front of him. Oh, big battle in our top 5. Davis has a fast race car to the inside of Jake Finch for position 3.
And Finch will concede the position as they approach the entrance of turn number 3, as Davis is starting to turn up the wick with a big slide off of turn 4 there, cementing himself in 3rd position with Finch back to 4th. Hudson Bolger rounding out your top 5 with Jace Hansen knocking on the back door for that spot. And the black flag has come out for Tristan McKee for that smoke as the team starts to prepare for that 5 car to come in. What a save by Bolger. He got tagged by Hansen and he caught the car off 4.
Another look to the inside. Here comes Gilliland to the bottom. Bolger allows the inside lane to be open as the 55 of Plybon looks for the opening. David Gilliland has been pretty aggressive here early on, and the driver that is on the move is Dawsonville, Georgia's Spencer Davis. What a race car and what a run he has 20 laps into this event.
Davis coming off of what was a runner-up finish at the Florida Governor's Cup at New Smyrna Speedway just about 3 weeks ago. Now looking for the opportunity to get himself up towards the front. He gets a good run off turn 4, and it's inside of Peltier for 2nd as they almost brush in turn 1.
Peltier gave him a little extra room, and that was a good move for Peltier because Davis was sending it off into turn 1, hauling the mail and making the move for the 2nd spot. Spencer Davis continues his trek forward. The driver from Georgia started 5th, is up to 2nd.
Contrary to what we saw in 2024, this first 20-lap run has gone clean and green as the Richie Waters team starts to diagnose what the issue may be on the 5 of Tristan McKee as he's down to the attention of his crew, falling multiple laps down. Let's go to our Joe's Racing Products pit reporter. Here's Bob.
Richie Waters and his team checking out this car. They're going to go underneath the hood. I asked them what was it. They're not sure just yet. So Richie looking at the right side of the engine compartment to see where that fluid is coming from. Touching the valve covers and looking in that area right now, but the definite fluid, you heard a lot of people like Bubba Pollard talking about the fluid that was being laid down on the racetrack, apparently coming from Tristan McKee's number 5 here today, but they are still searching. They can't find it, guys.
And they continue to fall multiple laps down in that 5 car as we check in on a battle happening for 5th place. Bolger after the save, now trying to hold on to that top 5 spot. Hayden Plybon down to the inside. All the while, the race leader has caught the tail end of the pack. Brandon Lopez, Trayton Lapsevich and company in danger of going a lap down. In fact, Lopez already a lap off the leader. Lapsevich, who is missing some of his college exams to be here in this race, now also falling 1 lap off the leaders.
And the battle heats up a little bit more for 5th. Up into the 5th spot, Washington driver Hayden Plybon makes the move. Here comes the 08 of Chase Hansen, able to get by as well. Bolger's had a nice run here early on, but right now he's going to drop potentially outside of not just the top 5, but the top 10 as well as they continue to line up. Atwell, Cole Butcher continues his trek forward, and so does Dawson Sutton in the 26.
Word from the pit lane is they've given up the ghost. So the Richie Waters number 5. McKee is going behind the wall. His first Snowball Derby is going to end very early as Bolger continues to lose spots here. Now here comes Dawson Sutton in the 26 up to the inside. And Carson Brown in the Anthony Campy Racing number 81 trying to keep Bolger pinned to the top side to continue his charge up towards the front. This will put Brown into the top 10 for the first time today as he makes the pass.
Yeah, 7 spots to the good for Carson Brown in the Anthony Campy Racing number 81. He's on the move toward the front. Stephen Nassy started toward the back of the field. He's up to 22nd. The teammate to Carson Brown in the 81. Both of those cars look to be pretty strong here early, and they need to be if you started deeper in the field, because the leader, Ty Majeski, is setting a torrid pace, starting to lap the back part of the field. This battle is going to heat up soon, because the 3 right now, Atwell was really loose over in turn 2, and Butcher's ready to pounce.
Atwell, you can see that left front tire having to fight the handle of that car as Butcher gave him a warning shot there. Coming off the corner, Butcher will duck inside to kick Atwell back as he tries to slice himself back in the racing groove.
He does, but for how long? He's got his hands full right now. This Michael Atwell, we're just 31 laps in the race, so the true handle of these cars now will start to show. Carson Brown picks up a spot from Dawson Sutton, so the 81, one of the strongest cars in the field right now, making his debut at the Snowball Derby.
All the while, race leader Ty Majeski is in some heavy traffic, and just up the road from him, 2-time Snowball Derby champion Kyle Busch, who had to race his way into the last chance race. He said that his lone concern to start this race that far back is he did not want to go a lap down early. There's Kyle in the FloRacing number 51 with a bit of a bobble up off turn 4. Majeski looks low. This could put Busch a lap down early here with less than 35 laps complete, and Majeski gets by.
The most laps that we'll see in a row consecutively today is 100. After 100 green flag laps, they will have a mandatory caution. If in fact we get a yellow before that, then that 100 lap number will reset. And right now, Majeski going through the field, putting drivers' laps down. There's a battle between Bubba Pollard and Stephen Nasse. Pollard currently running 20th. Stephen Nasse's picked up several spots up into the 21st position. He started back in 31st, so 10 to the good for last year's Derby runner-up.
And look at the hands on Nasse's cars. He is hustling that machine, trying to get to the inside of Pollard. Nasse is on a similar trajectory as he was a year ago. He started 30th last year, 32nd today, trying to crack that top 20 if he can get this spot away from Pollard. He was 1 spot shy of that first Snowball Derby win a year ago, and he's starting to float his way up towards the front of the field.
It is go time for these drivers. Again, if we stay green, Majeski's going to put a lot of competitors a lap down. You see Spencer Davis working through cars that have already gone a lap down. The 16 of Jacob Gomes, 12 of Derek Griffith, the 14 of Chase Pensino. All of those drivers have gone down a lap to the race leader, Ty Majeski. Second place, Spencer Davis continues to work through them as well.
And we are about to enter some uncharted territory as far as these cars, this tire, and this race weekend. Even though there was a prelude practice event here at the track held about a week ago, and also a test day on Monday, across the practice session we had nobody ran more than 40 laps on this F45 Star Hoosier tire on this racetrack. Everyone is going to have to learn on the fly, and we're starting to see some very ill-handling cars. We got trouble turn 1, got a car around in the first corner, and that is going to draw the first caution of the race.
Honeycutt, the 21, has some issues. We're on board Caden Honeycutt, last year's winner of the Snowball Derby, trying to get back up through.
Honeycutt was running in close proximity to where that incident took place, which happened in front of the leader. As Honeycutt comes by us, our defending Derby champion, no obvious damage to the right side of that race car. And the spin involved Hudson Bolger, who was started up in the top 3 of this race, and he started to fade back and went around in the first and second corner.
Yeah, and he was running strong over the first 15 to 20 laps. The car started to fade a bit, and it's in one of those protect modes, trying to defend your position and try to keep it on the bottom, but drivers are anxious. They're ready to go. Could there have been some contact that sent the 17 of Bolger around?
See Bolger trying to assure his place potentially in front of Ty Majeski to see if he can get it back on the lead lap. Little bit of damage to the nose of that race car after Hudson Bolger draws caution number 1. Here's a look down into turn 1. Honeycutt to the inside. There's the contact. Honeycutt with a semi-spin himself with that broadside slide.
Yeah, he peeked to the inside. That's a case where Bolger's trying to protect the bottom. Driver looks to the inside. Another look at it here. Bolger comes down. The 2 make contact. Bolger thinking maybe he was going to be able to stay ahead of the 21, keep him at bay, and for Honeycutt, he sees the opening, says it's time to go. Kind of a racing deal, but the contact was made and Bolger went around.
So early misfortune for the driver trying to go back-to-back in terms of Snowball Derby wins, as well as the Georgia native Hudson Bolger, who was the highest qualifying Snowball Derby rookie. After he ran the Snowflake the last 2 seasons, Bolger's going to drop to the rear of the field as his team starts to dissect what the plan is going to be, with Bolger now coming down the pit lane with several other cars under this first caution of the race.
Crew chief for Hudson Bolger, Brett Reagan. Hunter Robbins also in the pit for Hudson Bolger as he makes his way to pit road. See what they need to do. Minor damage, it looks like, to the 17.
Let's get a Joe's Racing Products pit update from Jim Trado.
In the pit area towards turn 4, a lot of cars have come in, including the NASCAR 2-time champion Kyle Busch has brought his FloRacing Chevrolet to the attention of pit road. Crew chief is Travis Braden, the 2019 champ. He works for Hendrick full time. He was called in to be the crew chief on this team. They called the pit road. They're looking at put tires on already, and they're also making some big left front shock adjustments. Bob?
Down here in Hudson Bolger's pit, and there is some damage to the nose piece. The hood is kind of buckled up a little bit, a crack on the left front fender. Hunter Robbins calling the shots on this team. Hunter Robbins has won super late model and also pro late model races at this racetrack, but they're analyzing the damage right now, seeing what they might need to do to this race car. They're going to take out some duct tape and put it on that hood area to make sure they can get that secure, but they're looking at the nose here, and they do have some damage. It's kind of pushed down a little bit further than it should be, and that might result in some clearance issues as they go into the corner. So the analysis going on down here right now, but not a ton of work just yet in regards to repairing in the 17, which was really loose prior to that happening.
Thanks, Bob. And the work continues for many of these teams. You see Bubba Pollard also taking advantage of this early caution to come down the pit lane. About 23 cars were on the lead lap at the time that yellow flag fell after the first 39 laps of this race ran clean and green. Preston Peltier led the opening stanza. Ty Majeski has taken the lead and held on to it. And this will be the first yellow of this race as Pollard's team is getting set to try to roll him back out. And the word that we're getting is that a penalty may be getting levied to Bubba Pollard for too many crew members working on that car. So Pollard, who was running up towards the top 20, in fact in the top 20 at the time of this yellow, now potentially being assessed a penalty to drop to the rear on this ensuing restart.
Pollard and his team, knowing they needed to come to the pits, make some adjustments.
Here's a look at what happened to draw the first caution. On board with defending Derby champion Caden Honeycutt inside of Bolger. There's the contact.
That's a late entry into turn 1. It's tough to make that decision. He saw it. He had a run on the 17, did Honeycutt. For Bolger, just maybe didn't know he was going to dive in like that. Tough deal.
You heard the anguish of those Hoosier F45 stars as they slid for a good bit down to the entrance of turn number 1, putting that team a bit behind the 8 ball in terms of their strategy.
So yellow laps do count, yellow flag laps do count, but you can come to the pits and make adjustments and not have to worry